Hi, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. So we're just going to have a little bit of a chat about your experience at the Raw, Wild and Free retreat. And I've got some questions to ask you to give you some prompts. Um, but I think what I would like to start with is what your initial reason was, or what made you kind of feel called to attend the Raw, Wild and Free retreat.
Okay. So I came to your retreat in November 2024, which is just over a year ago. And at that time in my life, I actually booked it, I think, in around July timeframe was when I
Yep.
booked it. Um, I think at that time in my life, I was just searching for something because I knew that something wasn't quite right. Like I was one of those people, outwardly, I looked fine. Like I looked like I had it together, but on the inside, no, I didn't. And I felt, yeah, there's got to be something more to life to figure out, how to fill in these little gaps that I kind of felt that were in my life at the time. So I didn't really know much about what it would entail, but I kind of felt curious to see what would take place. So yeah, I just signed up because one of my friends had looked you up and found you online and heard about the retreat and told me about it. And with her encouragement, we both decided to go together. Yeah.
Mm, how beautiful. How beautiful that you kind of trusted that you wanted more for yourself in that experience and in joining the retreat. But it's like you kind of, your inner knowing knew that you wanted something more. And ultimately your friend Susie kind of helped you along that decision to join the retreat.
I think having a friend made it a lot easier to commit, because the idea of coming along to a retreat on my own was something that, I thought, can I do this? And I was actually a little bit apprehensive about that. But as soon as she said, well, I was going to go too because I've got some stuff to work through. And that actually really took me back because I've known my friend for a number of years and she is successful. Like she's a badass. Like she's incredible if you ever meet her. And I thought, why the hell would you need to go to a retreat? You're perfect, right? Like it was astounding. But when she said, no, I think I've got some healing to do as well. And it kind of made me go, oh wow, there must be a lot of us who walk around looking like we've got it together, but on the inside actually have a few things that we want to work on. So I thought, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the thing. Like we portray that everything's okay on the outside, but it's almost like we're denying ourselves, or we have to pretend that we're okay when we're not. It's like we can't just say, oh, I need to do this, or I'm feeling a little bit defeated, or whatever is going on the inside. Sometimes we feel that we're not safe to actually express that, and we kind of hold it in or push it down and think that it's not a priority. So I think for women that are experiencing those sort of feelings where they are sort of pretending that everything's okay on the outside to the outside world, but are feeling like they're really struggling or feeling like something's missing, what I guess what information would you share to them if they are sort of on the fence or thinking about coming to the retreat, and they um, are feeling like this? What piece of inspiration would you give them?
I think for me, in my own experience, when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, am I okay being this dissatisfied with my life?
Mm,
Because it was a very private thought to admit that, that things weren't entirely perfect because, yeah, I did spend a lot of energy curating an image, a projection of who I wanted to show up as, and realizing that there was a gap between how I was seen and how I actually felt was quite a moment of vulnerability.
Mm,
And I think giving myself the space to go, actually, I want to do better than this, and I
mm,
deserve better than this, and I'm worthy of more than this is kind of what gave me the tipping point to, yeah, to invest the time and the money into coming to the retreat. Because, we all know life is busy. Like, both Susie and I, work corporate jobs, and, they're quite demanding roles that take up a lot of our time and resources. But to carve out a few days just for us,
mm.
was quite a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important what you said about being worthy of just giving yourself those few days, because it may only be a few days, but that time that you have at the retreat is just for you. There's zero distractions, and it's
Mm,
just about you sort of creating space for yourself to dive a little bit deeper and do some reflection and some inner work. But
mm,
I feel like it's really important that we feel worthy of actually experiencing that, because a lot of us don't. A lot of us put that sort of care at the bottom of the list, and it only ever happens when we reach a breaking point, or the point of, I really need to do something, instead of I want to do something, or I am worthy of this experience.
mm. Oh, I agree. I agree. And I think as women, we're always wanting to give to other people, but very rarely wanting to give a gift to ourselves. And I just felt, yeah, it's time to put myself first for a change and stop pouring
Mm,
so much energy into other people, and giving that same level of energy and care back to myself for a few days.
mm. And what a beautiful gift that is, because if you think about it, you are giving yourself a gift in that experience.
Yeah, and it is. And I know, some people might be hesitant about, the cost or investment, because I know, with cost of living, everyone's, wanting more money and wishing that they had more money to play with. But if you think about it, the investment that you make in this, it pays tenfold. It absolutely um changes the way that you feel about yourself after 3 days. It changes the way that you look at the world. And if someone said to me, "Oh, it's going to cost you this much to kind of like work your way out of a depressive hole," I would have paid 10 times more.
Mm, yeah,
Like, it, because if you've ever experienced a mental health condition where, yeah, you feel like the world is all against you, you would give your life savings to get out of that. So
yeah,
it kind of seemed like a bit of a no-brainer at that point, where I thought, well, yeah, I'll find the money, I'll make it work.
yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, is because sometimes we kind of judge the monetary value of something before we've even experienced, and we think that it's not a possibility for us, or that we're not worthy of it, or it's just not a priority, until we actually receive the medicine, or receive the value of the experience. And then we go, well, actually, yeah, it's I got the value that I paid, but I probably got a lot more than that as well. So
Oh no, I absolutely agree. I definitely got a lot more than I was expecting out of the retreat, because here we are, a year and a bit down the track, and we're still in contact. And you know, I, I look back on the growth that I've had since the retreat. Like, the retreat was like a spark that kind of took hold in the rest of my life, and the last 12
mm,
months has actually been beautiful since.
mm. What do you think was your biggest realization at the retreat, and what change has that sparked for you?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I think coming into the retreat, I was a little bit scared to share things about myself, because I was in a room full of women who I did not know, and I was with my friend who knew, a version of me, but not maybe the real me that had some insecurities and some issues that I wanted to work through. And I did feel really scared to kind of reveal that. I thought, if I say these things, are people going to laugh at me? Are people going to judge me? Are people going to avoid me for the rest of the retreat because they think I'm crazy? And as soon as I started to tell people a little bit about what was going on in my mind and what was going on in my experience at the time, I just felt such a welcoming, loving acceptance from everyone, like yourself and all of the other women. And just this outpouring of, well, we've all experienced those things. And to be able to go through 3 days of just connection with total strangers that I would leave and become, quite close with after 3 days, and knowing that I was in a place where I wasn't going to be judged for my mental health. I wasn't going to be judged or mocked, and instead kind of comforted and, yeah, held with a lot of compassion. I thought that was quite beautiful.
That's lovely. Thank you. Um, what is your life like now compared to before you came to the retreat? What's
My
different?
life is beautiful. No, look, I obviously, it's not perfect, but it never can be. But I'm actually more okay with that now. Like, I think my life is so beautiful because I've been able to navigate, some of the obstacles that have hit me in the last 12 months that have been quite painful and quite hard. But I've changed in the way that I'm able to work through them. And in amongst all of that, I've still been able to curate really beautiful experiences with myself and my friends and my loved ones, and find joy despite the constraints of reality, you know?
Mm.
Mm.
That's really beautiful. Finding joy despite the constraints of reality. That's I think that's a beautiful quote to live by, beautiful
Mm.
motto to live by. Yeah,
Mm.
and I was lucky enough to have a beautiful experience with you yesterday, sharing a lovely meal at Nobu together, and that I got a little bit of a glimpse into how beautiful your life is. And it
Yes.
was really lovely to share that with you. So I feel blessed to be in your friendship circle.
Oh, thank you, Carla. No, it's such an honor. It's such an honor because food is a love language to me.
Mm,
And I know that when we were at the retreat, you organised some really beautiful catering from an external third party. And I just remember thinking, wow, this chef has gone to all of this effort to prepare this catering offsite, but they had boxed it in these foil, like, takeaway style containers, and you had lovingly reheated them, and the whole kitchen had this amazing aroma, this home cooked lovely food. It was so gorgeous. And I was like, no, we need to plate this. We need to make it look fancy. And I just remember, we found like servingware, and we set the table, and we kind of turned this meal into this beautiful ritual almost, just by presenting it beautifully and presenting it in the way that I think the chef would have appreciated from the effort that they poured into creating this food for us. And I think going forward from the retreat, like, I thought that was just something that I did that was normal, but I realized it wasn't normal. I realized it was a gift that I had, and being able to pursue that a little bit more in my personal life, and share the gift of food with the
mm,
people that I love, and just share the experience of
mm,
some incredible dining experiences that are available to us, and be able to provide the commentary and on what is going on. It just enriches the experience, and
mm.
it's just so lovely to be able to do that with people.
Absolutely. And I think sharing a meal together is a really special thing, particularly at the retreats, because it's a chance for us to kind of reflect on maybe the day, or just have more lighthearted conversations around the dinner table. And when you came in and kind of presented everything and served everything up, it was almost like we're eating with our senses. We're eating with our smell and our eyes, because everything is plated so beautifully, and then obviously the taste. So it is really a holistic experience, and the food at the retreat is there to nourish us and support us, and make us feel cozy and grounded.
Mm. Right. I definitely think that yeah, it is nourishing, but it's also just made so lovingly. Like, and I think that when we're all able to come together and share dinner together after a day of, laughter, tears, screaming, everything in between, it just felt so grounding to kind of have everything, that we lit little candles, we had everything all plated, we had some nice music. It just made for a real memorable experience out of the everyday eating. Everybody needs to have dinner. We do it every night, but the fact that we could make it a little bit special made it quite a nice memory that I'll always take with me.
Lovely. And last question for you. What advice would you like to give to women who may listen to this and who are perhaps thinking about coming along to the retreat, but they're uncertain, or perhaps feeling unworthy, or just a little bit unsure?
Yeah. Oh, I was that woman, in the middle of last year when I looked at the retreat, I looked at your website and I looked at what was on offer. I was going through those very same feelings where I thought, oh, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if I can afford it. Like, you have all sorts of reasons where you think that you can't go, and you can talk yourself out of anything. But when you really sit back and you go, well, hold on a second, let's look at my life. If I can answer honestly that I was 100% happy with my life, then sure, I won't go to the retreat. But when I look back at my life, I thought, no, actually, I'm not 100% happy. There is potential that my life could be better, and I owe it to myself to give myself the chance to make my life more beautiful than it ever could be. So I'm going to go to this retreat, and I'm going to go and show up, and I'm going to participate fully. And to give yourself the permission to be a bit vulnerable, I think is so important, because I think, women in our society, where we have this expectation that's given upon us to always be polished and perfect and all of those things, and to always be the caregiver of other people. So to be able to just put that on pause temporarily and be raw and be wild and find freedom and just, yeah, nourish ourselves. It's something that I think, if you're curious about it, just put that doubt to the side and just commit, because what's on the other side of that is something so beautiful that the only way to get there is to go through this.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Leonie. And it's so very true about vulnerability. We're not really taught, sometimes we're not taught how to be vulnerable, and we're taught the opposite, that potentially vulnerability is a weakness, or it's not something that we should express or share. And so I think the beautiful thing at the retreat for me is being able to witness people and women embrace their vulnerability, and really kind of let your walls down, and allow yourself to soften. Because when you're able to do that, when you're able to embrace your vulnerabilities, everything becomes a little bit lighter, a little bit clearer, and you start to gain this like clarity and a deeper connection with yourself. So even though it may feel strange, or it may feel like a little bit scary, there is so much beauty in it as well. So that's really the part that I love at the retreat is being able to hold that space for women to feel safe enough to be vulnerable. So
Mm,
thank
mm.
you. Thank you so much for allowing me to hold space for you and for our continued friendship and being able to have these chats and see how your life's going and to share in your life experiences as well.
Thank you so much, Carla. I really appreciate that. And I really hope that to any of the women who are watching this, so yeah, you know that you're worth it. You know that you're worth finding that version of yourself that is just amazing, and it's just on the other side of this retreat. So go.
Thank you. Thanks, Leonie. Have a wonderful day, rest of your Sunday, and I will chat to you very soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye, my lovely.